Hi, fifth grade. I just thought I'd do a quick video this afternoon because I've been getting a lot of questions about your English grammar assignments that you have on Google Classroom. So I thought I'd go over some of the things. I know the videos I linked to maybe were a little hard to understand. So I just want to go over some of it in case you want to go back and look over your work and redo any of it for a higher grade. I'll let you go ahead and do that because I haven't put them into Sycamore yet. So anyway, I'm going to start with page 438 in your English textbook. If you'd like to follow along with me, that will probably make it easier to see what I'm talking about. So 438, I'll find my page. And the kinds of sentences, you all got that pretty well, the imperative, declarative, exclamatory, and interrogative. So we talk about that all the time during our morning work. So you all did pretty well on that assignment. But I want to talk to you about subjects and predicates because a lot of people are getting mixed up on that and on the direct objects and indirect objects as well. So on page 438, it talks about simple subjects and simple predicates. Okay, simple means one word. Okay, so when you're looking for a simple subject, you're looking for one word, and most of the time it's going to be a noun. Every now and then it'll be a pronoun, but most of the time it'll be a noun that you're looking for, and that's what the sentence is about. Who is the subject of the sentence? Okay, so like for example, in exercise 1, you're looking for the simple subject. So it says, women participated in an athletic competition in ancient Greece, but not in the Olympics. So think about what's the one word this sentence is about. It's about women. And your subject is most of the time going to be at the beginning of your sentence also. Okay, so one word, usually a noun, beginning of the sentence. That's what your subject is. What is the sentence about? Okay, so like I said in exercise 1, number 1, your subject is women. Okay, that one should have been pretty easy to pick out. But number 2, it says, this competition was in honor of Hera, Zeus's wife. Okay, so the one word that the sentence is about is competition. This is an extra descriptive word, so I'm not going to include it. Simple means one word. Okay, so simple subject in that is competition. Okay, in exercise 2, you identify the simple predicate. Predicate means what they are doing. So it's going to be a verb. Okay, so it's going to be one word since it's simple and a verb. Predicate is verb. Okay, so in exercise 2, number 1, it says runners raced at the first Olympics. So what are they doing? They raced. That's your simple predicate. One word and what they're doing. Okay. Now, where it gets a little tricky is when you have helper verbs in there or linking verbs. Okay, that's when you have to include the helping or linking verb and the rest of the verb also. That's when you have like is, was, were, am. Those kind of words are your linking or helping verbs. Okay, so in number 2, later other sports were added. Okay, you have a linking verb there. Were is a linking verb. And when you have that linking verb, you have to include the other word after it. So were added is going to be your predicate. That's where it's a little tricky. Okay, I think a lot of people got mixed up on that too. So if it's one of those simple linking verbs, it's going to have a word after it also as the simple predicate. Okay, so same thing if you look down at number 5, it's even more confusing because you have 2 linking verbs. So it says, many sports in the modern Olympics have been practiced since ancient times. Okay, so your simple predicate in that is have been practiced. Have been is your linking verb, and practiced is what it's linking. All of those are the predicate. Have been practiced. Okay, so that's simple subjects and simple predicates. Now the next page, we get into complete subjects and complete predicates. This is where you look at the entire sentence. So you're not just looking for one word in complete. You're looking for the subject and everything that describes it. or the predicate and everything that describes it or comes after it. Okay, so pretty much you're going to be selecting half of the entire sentence for the most of the time anyway. So on exercise 1, it says the pentathlon was introduced at the 1912 Olympics. So what's the sentence about? The pentathlon. So for the complete, you're including all the descriptive words with it. So you would include the or the pentathlon. Okay? And so looking down at number 3, it says contestants in the 1912 Olympics participated in the long jump, the javelin, the discus, and 2 races. Okay, so in this one, contestants is your simple subject. But in the 1912 Olympics describes what kind of contestants we're talking about. So that's your complete subject. Your complete subject will be all the words until you get to your predicate. Okay, so contestants in the 1912 Olympics is your complete subject. Okay, then exercise 2, you're identifying the complete predicate. So this is kind of the opposite. You're going to identify the simple predicate and then all the words that come after it. Okay, so like on number 1 in exercise 2, Jim Thorpe's Olympic medals were contested. In this case, the simple predicate and the complete predicate are the same thing. Were contested are the only other words in the sentence. So that's your complete predicate. But if you look at number 4, it's an extra long one. This action made Thorpe a professional athlete according to the Olympic Committee. Okay, so this action is your subject. Okay, but we're looking for the predicate in this case. The complete predicate is going to be everything else that comes after this action. So your complete predicate in this sentence is made Thorpe a professional athlete according to the Olympic Committee. Everything else that comes after. Okay, so when it's asking you to type the complete predicate, you have to type all of those words in this sentence or else it's not correct. Okay, so that's simple subject, one word, unless it's linking verbs, then you have to include the one after it. And then complete subject and predicate, it's all of the words describing before or after. Okay? Next, we have direct objects and indirect objects. So a direct object is going to tell you whom or what the action is being done to. Okay? So like if I said, I'm giving you the paper. You are the direct object because I'm giving it to you. Okay? The indirect object is going to be to whom, to what, or for what. Okay? So for example, I gave you a really bad example earlier. Okay, but basically it's like who is receiving what you're giving. Okay, so I think I actually told you the indirect object. Let's look at number 1, it'll make more sense. So if you look at number 1 on page 442, you're identifying the direct object. Okay, so 14-year-old Nadia Comaneci earned 3 gold medals in gymnastics at the 1976 Summer Olympics. So for the direct object, your answer is going to be one word. Okay, so we're talking about Nadia Comaneci. She's the subject. Earned is the predicate. That's what she did. The direct object tells what she earned. Okay, so in that sentence, what she earned was medals. One word. Okay, you're not including the adjectives and other descriptors. One word. So the direct object is medals. So let's look at exercise 2, because I'm pretty sure this was your assignment. Exercise 2, it says identify the direct object and the indirect object. Okay, so remember indirect, to whom, to what, for what. Okay, so Bela Karai, I'm going to say this right, Karolia taught young gymnasts moves. Okay, so that Bella, that's their subject. Taught is our predicate. What What did she teach? That's your direct object. What she taught was moves. Okay, that's your direct object, one word. Who did she teach the moves to? Gymnasts. That's your indirect object. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So what she taught is your verb. What she taught is the moves. Who did she teach them to? Gymnasts. That's your indirect object. They are receiving it. Okay, so like number 2, he awarded his pupils trophies. He is the subject. Awarded is the predicate. That's what he's doing. What did he award? Trophies. So trophies is your direct object. Who did he give the trophies to? Pupils. That's your indirect object. Okay, hopefully this is making more sense. I think a lot of the times it's easier to find your direct object and indirect object after you identify your subject and your predicate. Okay, because then you can see, okay, what are they giving it to? What are they getting? That's my direct object, is what they're getting. And then who's getting it is my indirect object. Okay, so like number 3, he offered Nadia good training. He's my subject. Offered is my predicate. What did he offer? Training. So training's the direct object. And who got the training? Nadia. So Nadia is the indirect object. Who is receiving it is your indirect object. What is the thing that they're getting is your direct object. Okay? I'm going to do one more with you. So number 4, at the Montreal Olympics, Nadia showed the world her amazing skills. Okay? So on this, at the Montreal Olympics, that's called a prepositional phrase, which we talked about before. That's extra information, and if we take it out, the sentence will still make sense. Okay? So if I start at Nadia, Nadia is my subject. Nadia showed is my predicate. That's what she did. What did she show? Skills. Okay? Her and amazing are describing the skills. You only want one word. Okay? And for your object, your direct object and your indirect object, those are mostly nouns. Okay, so that's another thing to keep in mind. If you know, hey, this is a describing word, it's not an object, not a direct object or indirect object. Okay, so what she's showing is skills. That's your direct object. Who did she show the skills to? World. Okay, world is the indirect object. That's who she's showing the skills to. One word answer. I know these ones are kind of confusing. That's why I want to go over it with you. Okay, so let's do one more for this week's work, and that's subject complements. To me, subject complements are a little easier. Okay, it's like this is this. He was that. Whatever's at the end of that sentence is your subject complement. Okay, you just have to make sure that you're leaving off the extra information because it's going to be a one-word thing again. Okay, so for example, and some of you put adjective or noun. That's okay, but you don't have to. In the assignment I put on Google Classroom, I just want you to identify the subject complement. Okay, all the subject complement does is it describes your subject. Okay, it's complementing it and complementing, not complimenting. It's not going to be a good thing always. It just means it goes with it. That's what complement means. Okay, so like number 1, Wilma Rudolph's family was large. So Wilma Rudolph's family, that's your complete subject, was, when you're working with subject complements, you're always going to have those short is, was, am, are, were, those kind of linking verbs. Because it's just saying this is this. He was that. And the end of that is your subject complement. So Wilma Rudolph's family was large. So the thing that they were is large. That's your subject complement. In this case, it's an adjective. But like I said, you don't have to include that. All I'm looking for is the subject complement, which is large. One word again, okay? Number 2, Wilma was the 12th child in a family of 22 children. Okay, this one, we have a bunch of prepositional phrases in there, so it kind of throws you off. So if we take out of 22 children, that's one prepositional phrase. In a family, that's another prepositional phrase, so we can just take it off of the sentence and it still makes sense. If I take those off, it says Wilma was the 12th child. Okay, that's our simple part of our sentence there. So Wilma is the subject, was is the predicate. What was she? Child. That's my one word subject complement. Wilma was child. Okay, everything else is extra information or describing words. Okay, and then number 3, her parents were industrious. The subject is parents. Okay, the parents were's the predicate. What were they? Industrious. So the subject complement is industrious. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little more sense. Your subject complement's always going to be at the end. It's going to be he, was, this, she, is, that. Whatever comes after the is, am, are, was, or were, and it's going to be either a noun or adjective because it's describing your subject. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little more sense. You can always, send me a message if you're still not understanding it, and I can go a little more in depth with you. Hopefully that'll help you complete the assignments for this week. Till next time.